Hi, my name is David Ault, and I am Senior Minister here at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta. What you're about to witness in this video is something that I think is remarkable. It is two seemingly opposed faiths coming together and speaking the same language. What is that language? It's love. It's that God is love, period. We called it a rally for inclusion. And these videos now have been viewed all over the world, from South Africa to Canada, the United States, and beyond. And now you become a part of that audience. I trust that as you watch this, that you too will create within yourself a sense of inclusion and discover that indeed we all are one. I know you'll enjoy it. Thanks.
Celebrate God together. Can you say amen to that? Amen. If you used to say, and so it is, just say, and so it is. And so it is. It's all working together. I'll invite Reverend David Ault and Bishop Pearson to come join me on the stage. And as they come, will you put your hands together, welcome these wonderful. What we want to do, first of all, let me say, yesterday we had Channel 2. ABC was out covering the march yesterday. CBS was here today, and I think I see they may be up in the balcony now about recording us. And so there's not just bad news that's being recorded, but when people come together for a good reason, finally there's some good news being recorded. One of the ideas that Reverend Ault and I talked about when we planned this Day of Inclusion, this rally for inclusion, was the idea of God, and how do we reconcile the idea of an eternally loving and merciful God with an eternal torture chamber that we call hell. One thing that we've talked about is changing our paradigm. How do we view God? Is God a teacher, or is God a torturer? Is God a punisher? Is he punitive, or is he purgative? Is God, is he redemptive, or is he retributive? And so you say, well, why is this important for us to talk about hell today? And I think the way that Spiritual Living Center made their advertisement, it was a pastor in a clerical collar, and it said right across the front of it, "Shut the hell up." Bishop Pearson wrote in his book recently a chapter that says, "Get the hell out of my Bible." Why are these concepts important? Well, the view that you have of hell reflects the view you have of God. How can we reconcile the ideas that we have of God with the idea of hell? And so we're going to talk a little bit about this idea today. And as we have learned to say here at the Cathedral, if we can get the devil out of our mind and out of our mouth, we might be able to get the devil out of our life. I want to turn it to Reverend Ault, let him share his thoughts on this, and we're just going to work together today, Reverend.
Well, I come from the same background as these gentlemen. In fact, I'm an alumni with Bishop Pearson from Oral Roberts University, and have gone on to survive. But I look back at that time, and not with disdain and not with regret, because one of the things that we teach in New Thought is this beautiful phrase called divine discontent. And divine discontent is that thing that thankfully the caveman developed, or else we wouldn't be where we are today. And divine discontent is something that's natural for each and every one of us. And what it brings us to is a new decision point, an opportunity to make a grander embodiment of that which we have known and understand God to be as us. So whenever we are in a particular environment or have grown up with certain belief systems, we welcome those paradigm shifts, because that divine discontent says it's natural. It's natural for us to grow. It's natural for us to question. Why? Because we're evolutionary beings. We will never be static. We will never stand still. We will always, as our founder Ernest Holmes described, have that inner creative urge inside of us that beckons to expand more. One of the fundamental principles that we teach is that we are a part of God. And that has been so hard to accept for a lot of us that came from a more traditional background, isn't it? Because when we say that we are a part of God, that means that all of the elements that are God, think about that. All of the elements of God, the wisdom, the power, the love, the ability to create, the clarity, the peace, the harmony, all of those elements are the elements that reside within us. And our whole job as spiritual beings having a human experience is to learn to recognize that more and more and more. So every day is simply about recognition. Every day is about opening ourselves up and saying, how much am I willing to let God express as me, through me? And the big inhibitor of that, I believe, is this whole allegiance, this loyalty to lack, and this loyalty to unworthiness. Because I don't know about you, but growing up in that environment as a young boy in Beaumont, Texas, I was not told that I was a part of God. I was told an entirely different story. And thankfully, because of that divine discontent, I took that and went about on my own journey. And that journey brought me to New Thought. It brought me to the teachings of Ernest Holmes and religious science and ancient wisdom, which I embraced because what I saw there was it was saying, you are enough now, just as you are. You are enough now. There's nothing that you have to earn. There's no level of hierarchy or understanding that you have to surpass before you're worthy. You're worthy now. And if there's anything that I could leave you with today, it is how much are you willing to recognize that worth? What's really quite something is that we all have needs. You could call it desires. And all of those things are natural. And what I've really embraced in my evolution of understanding is that all of those needs are already met. They're already met. So the way that I coined the phrase for that is solution already exists. Solution already exists. Think about it. And the way that I sort of joke around with that is I say that Columbus did not discover America. Because America, the landmass, already existed. What did Columbus do? He simply got into a boat. So there's an intention there, right? And he even got lost. But there was an intention. And so if you and I are willing and receptive to open up to that greater expression of God, then metaphorically, we just have to get into the boat. Because it already exists. It means we have to travel towards that. What does that look like? Well, we have to act like that. We have to stay focused on that. We have to speak of that. We have to become that. I think for me, the biggest blessing that I take out of this experience today is that this is tangible for me. See, we talk about inclusion. We talk about we are one. But to actually do something, to actually come together and do it. And so, may we all walk our talk. May we all allow ourselves to have that greater recognition. May we all shut the hell up. Because what happens when you shut something? You disassociate from it. And in the process of disassociating from that kind of just unworthiness and all of the things that come with that we've been taught, we open ourselves up to what? To that which is the representation of heaven. And it's not in the future, it's here now. Thank you so much.
Wayne Dyer made a comment, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And after 58 years of living in a classical Pentecostal rooted life consciousness. I have reconsidered what I believe and why I believe it, and how those beliefs add to or subtract from the quality of my life. One of the root causes of the dysfunctionalism on the planet is, in my opinion, is this duality, this dual allegiance, this dual consciousness of good and evil, God and devil or devil. Isn't it interesting that one of the first commandments for Adam was that you are free to eat from any tree in the garden? The first comment was you are free to eat or to live off any tree or truth in the garden, except the one in the middle that says any of the other ones are bad. The tree of the knowledge, the experimentation or experience of duality, good and evil, God and evil. We bought into, along with that Adamic consciousness, the dual consciousness of what's right and wrong, who's right and wrong, good and evil, God and evil. So we have these two loyalties, these two allegiances to two entities or deities. And the devotion to a devil or the devil is just as strong in fundamentalist religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, particularly the latter two. The devotion there is as strong as it is to God. What if there was no right or wrong, just choices with consequences? A sequence or sequel to every choice or decision we make. That makes more sense than the whole concept of eternal judgment by a God with a terrible anger management problem, who needs some deep counseling. A God who's, that God is vindictive. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord, I will repay.